How are you doing?
I'm fine, Kount. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So, what a game yesterday. Let's talk through the performance of Hales. How good was he?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were talking about it in the build up to the game as well in the dogs too. That there were signs that he was getting closer to his best, and that's what happened in the game as well. The deck was reasonably good, and the bowling attack, even though it had Taunton and Rashid Khan, he still delivered. That shows the quality of the player.
Yeah, he tried to even stand up, walk up, and try to hit the ball through the line. He
Mm.
was feeling very confident about the way the ball was coming onto the bat yesterday.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
played a longer innings, given. Sorry.
by the end, he was frustrated at not being able to smash Colin de Grandhomme. I mean, to for someone to be bowling at that pace and controlling Alex Sales with the ball, I think that's the first time I've ever seen. But other than that, he was very good.
Yeah, I think and on the way they used Colin, CDG, and to the extent that they bowled Taunton shot of an over
Yeah,
was quite something.
there is someone complaining about how the whole thing seems bizarre. De Grandhomme bowls 4 overs and Taunton is only bowling three, which is ending up affecting our fantasy teams.
Exactly, and the way Taunton actually came back after Hales hit him for a four,
Mm.
could see that grunt and that ball going and hitting that keeper's hand,
Yeah.
with that thump. The ball
Mm.
kind of recorded about 141 or 142 clicks,
Mm.
and looking at his coach, saying that's the job he's been given, just to go out and run in and bowl fast, and what a job he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, we are talking about how he might have had an ordinary day yesterday, but look at his figures. They're still 3-0-18 for two, despite Hales trying and taking him down.
Yeah, wish he had bowled that fourth over. But looking at their batting,
Mm.
your call on Matthew shot was bang on.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as it was Adelaide, he was the first thing that came to my mind. It seems like it's almost impossible to get him out on that deck with the short square boundaries, and he also bites his time. He's clever with the way he approaches innings as well, and especially against Sydney Thunder, who do not have an SLAO or a leg spin. So it was always going to be a challenge to get him out.
And also the bet on Chris Lynn that he will score more than 26.5.
Mm. Yeah,
That
he
was the bang
exactly
on too,
got to
even though he did
20.
not take any catches.
Yeah, he got
Sorry.
exactly only one more run. He scored more than what we wanted, and he got out. So it
Exactly.
was like he was there for us.
And that made me stay awake till Crystalline crossed that 26.5. Yeah, since he did not take any catches as we had predicted.
Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, so that was yesterday's game, and we had winners on FanX, going with your suggestion of Shart and Thornton.
Mm. I myself won as well because of it, um, and yeah, it was always going to be a decision between. There were some who also followed our top tip of predicted picking the batter from the first innings and bowler from the second innings. They were the ones who finished at second, for example. There are a lot who picked Alex Sales for the slot, and he was a leading run scorer and the leading boundary scorer for yesterday. But the problem was the bowlers who bowled in the second innings. None of them managed to pick up uh, any wickets, except with the exception of Nathan McAndrew, who wasn't in a lot of teams. So we had Taunton,
Yeah,
and
you
that's
could
why
have
we.
been the differential if I had picked Nathan
Mm,
McAndrew instead of Rashid Khan. Rashid Khan picked only one wicket.
yeah.
So, but we had predicted that both Gurin Sandhu and in the show, and Fazal Haq Faruqi's bowling,
Mm,
you had
mm,
said that will not be very effective.
yeah.
Even though they did not go for many, but they're hardly able to make more inroads, except for the wicket Sandhu took off Jake Weatherholt.
Yeah, I mean, Tanvir Sanga's injury has made this side a fundamentally flawed one. I mean, he cannot go into a T20 in 2022 without someone who can turn the ball away from right-handers. That's a major flaw that they have, and it's showing in the games that they have played so far.
So with that game done and dusted, let's talk about today's game. And before we go into that, Brisbane Heat is the only team this deep into the tournament, having played just only one game so far,
Hmm.
and that too
I
they
think
played the game against Melbourne Renegades.
hmm, looks like they're in for a double game week. There is a lot of super coach talks in BBL going around. So they're going to play a lot of matches in such a short span.
Yeah, like what Sydney Thunders did during the first week, they already played 4 games. I
Yeah.
think such a back-to-back heat is coming up for Brisbane Heat. They lost the last game by 22 runs. Let's go into those score sheets shortly. Before that, let's look into their Twitter handles for any key announcements. Both Michael Nesser and Matthew Renshaw are back in the team. Back in the team. Looks like
Hmm.
mostly because the first Test match got over within just 2 days, and the next
Hmm.
Boxing Day Test match is not until the 26th. Probably that has made Michael Nesser to come down and join his team at Brisbane Heat. Leaving his Test team.
Yeah. I think that's why he has come back, and I think he'll be taking the place of Xavier Bartlett, which he's been unlucky. Bartlett is one of the better new ball bowlers in the league. For him to keep missing matches this way, last year there was this thing called where he could bowl a bowler for 1 over and then take him off. He was the one who was bowling the first over and regularly being taken off after the 10th over. It was harsh on him, and after the first game, he's again going to be dropped as well.
Yeah. So the game is going to be at Geelong, Victoria. That's a place Aaron Finch is from. So let's talk about you know um, Aaron Finch's chances. Before that, today is the skipper's birthday today. Happy birthday, Madison. He's had a couple of good outings. What are his chances today?
I think it's good because, firstly, Brisbane Heat does not have a top quality new ball option against left-handers, and this is also a deck that doesn't support new ball bowling. So he, for the very first thing, he'll start well, and then going even deeper in the innings, Matthew Kuhneman is someone he can tackle, being a left-hander against a slow left-arm spinner. His biggest threat today is going to be Mitchell Swepson and his leg spin.
Yeah, and unless they bring in Swepson early on into the attack, chances are
Hmm.
that Maddo will play his 30-40 balls before even Swepson comes into the attack.
True. Yeah.
So, looking at the score sheets of the last game, you said Aaron Finch would come good finally at Docklands.
Yeah, he did. It's going to be a bit more difficult for him today because of the nature of the deck, which supports a lot of spin outside of power play. And with him playing at a new position, it's not going to be easy. And the opposition also has two spinners who can spin the ball away from right-handers. So I think he'll do. He needs a really exceptional innings from him today to contribute to his team.
So, smaller grounds, even though both the bowlers take the ball away from the right hander, but do you think Dre Russell would be effective today batting deep in his wicket and hitting those sixes?
I think most of the boundaries at Geelong are smaller. We have this in our venue dog, but there are a couple of bizarre boundaries which are extremely long. So as long as Dre Russell picks the right slots and with the bowling attack and the opposition not having any express pace bowlers, it should be easy for him.
Yeah. And also, Akil Hussain and Mujib, pretty much they've been leading the bowling attack.
Mm.
Uh, and you'd see a similar pattern happening today as well, given the slow nature of the track at Geelong.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to how well they use the duo because of they have started with Akil Hussain. But in this match in particular, I'd like to see them start with Mujibur Rahman because he's someone whose effectiveness against left-handers reduces as the innings progresses. So it will be better to bowl him against the mm, top order of Brisbane Heat and then use Akil Hussain against Sam Billings and Jimmy Pearson, who they are playing at 4 and 5, and both of whom have major weaknesses against Akil Hussein's type of bowling.
Yeah, with that, let's go to the only game Brisbane Heat played against Melbourne Renegades, and this is the score sheet of Brisbane Heat's batting.
Hmm.
Uh, Colin Munro again. Do you think there's a wicket that would suit his kind of batting for him to be among runs?
Munro is someone who has played a lot of cricket at Brian Lara Cricket Stadium in Trinidad. This is a deck that could be similar to it, and so I don't think he'll find it a lot difficult, especially looking at the form he was in the first game. So unless he tries something rash, he should be good to go for good to score something like 30 to 35 again today.
Yeah, and Akil Hussain had a really good outing the last time both these teams played each other, picking up three
Yeah,
wickets.
I think it was Melbourne Renegades' first game, and their batters would not have seen a lot of Akil and they've come better prepared today. But even considering that, it's not going to be easy for them on this deck.
Yeah, with having seen that score sheet, let's go to today's game sheet
Mm,
between the Melbourne Renegades and Brisbane Heat. So let's look at the Brisbane Heat sheet first. A couple of changes. Matthew Renshaw comes in, Michael Nasser
mm.
comes in. But with that, I'm not sure this is the ideal game Michael Nasser wants to come into, given the slow nature of the pitch.
Exactly. I mean, this is one of those decks that hasn't supported a lot of new ball bowling. So Michael Neeson may not be as effective as he usually can be on this deck.
And what kind of form has Matt Renshaw has been in as he comes into this team after a break?
Both players have been in top form. Matthew Renshaw and Nisar. I think once Warner retires or what Warner is dropped, one of the two things happen. Renshaw is the one who is looking for that opening spot in the Australian national side. So that says a lot about his recent form. And Nisar as well has been exceptional, which is why he's in the national scheme of things.
So Renshaw could make it to the India tour as early as this Jan. I think that Australia is coming down for a four-test series, and there are talks that Warner could be dropped for the India series. But given his experience playing in the subcontinent, may not. Yeah, probably
Hmm.
he'll be given that as his last run.
Yeah, I don't think they'll take such a big decision, but if it happens, then Renshaw is the one who is front runner for the
Yeah.
spot.
So both the teams have good spin options. Swepson and Kuhneman for Brisbane Heat and Akil Hussain and Mujib for Melbourne Renegades. So talk about Swepson's and Kuhneman's fantasy potential today, given the wickets are slow.
Especially if they bowl second, I think they both of them will become good options. The same holds true for Melbourne Renegade spinners as well. Both Mujib and Akil Hussain, you'll anyway have to select him for his all-round value. Mujib becomes an even better option when Melbourne Renegades bowl second. The same applies for Brisbane Heat as well. Whoever bowls second will have an improved fantasy potential.
Yeah, and also talked about uh, Jimmy Pearson. Mujib coming in uh, to counter Sam Billings and Jimmy Pearson. Jimmy Pearson scored few runs last time.
Mm. And I think he got out to Akil Hussain eventually because Akil Hussain had bowled a couple of overs up front, and they didn't bring him in back for a long time, which resulted in Pavilion scoring a lot of runs, and that is also why I want Melbourne Renegades to use him in a different way this time. Start him from the middle overs and use him mainly against the middle and lower middle order of Billings, Pearson, and Baisley. So these are the bowlers he should be batters he should be bowling mainly at. But if they start him up top, then it changes the entire scenario in the middle, with Mujib being the one who is bowling a lot to these middle order players.
Yeah, and Mujib is very effective that wickets through his overs very, very fast.
Yeah. I
So,
think he,
yeah,
he got hit for a six against Basie of the first ball in the last over last game, and he bowled five consecutive dots after it.
what a comeback. Uh, very typical of Mujib. So I usually, after we look at the last match performances, I come to the venue guide, but this time I directly went to Brisbane Heat. And so we've
Hmm.
been talking a lot about Geelong and the surface.
Hmm.
Why
Hmm.
don't you talk us through the venue insights?
Geelong has been a nightmare for batters in general. be it in T20s, in the BBL, or in the World Cup qualification stages that were held. And the batting especially gets difficult as the innings progresses. The easiest period to bat, as it has been mentioned there, is the first 6 overs of the innings, of the first innings. And after that, it's going to be really difficult for batters to accelerate, and spinners come into play a lot more. You can see the average first inning scores, winning scores, and everything. They're all at the bottom ranks. So you can see them at 6, 8, 9, and 8. So it basically shows how difficult it is to score runs here. And pretty much all type of bowlers come into play. You could pick any bowler, and the bowler is likely to succeed.
And also batting, they instead of batsmen, I think the newer batsmen will find it even more difficult to get it going. So it's important for one of the top order batsmen to play a longer innings.
Very true, which is why one of the top tricks to crack this game from a fantasy point of view from us is to rely on the openers from both sides.
Again, Nick Madison, birthday boy,
Mm.
expect him to be among runs.
Yes, as we discussed before, the opposition doesn't have a lot of quality new ball options to counter left-handers, which will play into Nick Madison's hands.
Yeah, again, Finch could be drawn into a false shot like happened to him in the first game,
Mm.
where he hold out, I think,
Mm.
in backward point.
Mm.
So it will be a tricky surface for Finch to get the spinners rotated for strike.
Yeah, I think they're going to frustrate him a lot, both Swepson and Kuhneman. And even in general, Finch's record against leg spin has not been great. So that's something that will come into play today.
Yeah, we look at some of your team notes. So Fraser McGurk, really showed some potential, but in a deck like this,
Mm.
you mentioned against the spin duo. Again, talk
Mm.
to us about his fantasy potential today.
Fraser McGurk, I think there's a lot of reasons bias, and there's a lot of people who have selected him based on the cameo he played in the last game. But especially today, if he comes outside the power play, which is starts earlier in Big Bash because of the 4 over rule, then his fantasy potential will be severely affected because of the opposition having Swepson and Kuhneman.
Yeah. So again, we spoke about Michael Nazar. The note here is a good option against right-handers, you have said, but again, how the new ball will perform at Geelong is we need to wait to see that.
Yeah, that's something that remains to be seen.
So let's look at the matchups. Uh, Nothing much for Madison to worry about. If otherwise, if Simpson and Kuhneman,
Mm.
open the bowling or
Mm.
start to come on pretty early
Mm.
during the innings to specifically target bowling at the birthday boy.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering Steketee and Baisley are not top class new ball bowlers, this is a call that Melbourne Renegades, sorry, Brisbane Heat should make, because Swepson bowling in the power play could disturb things, and even Harper himself is not a great player of spin bowling.
Yeah, Simpson could literally open the
Mm.
top order all the way up to Finch.
Mm.
Before you know it, at the power play, end of power play, they could be 15 for 3
Mm.
because Finch could go for a rash shot and get out as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they open with Swepson, Brisbane Heat, if they win the toss and elect to field, because looks like it's a 50-50 venue and you don't know what the par score is. So better to field first
Mm.
to look at what opposition would put on the board to chase it. I think that would be a wiser thing to do, but we don't know what the pitch report actually says, and we will see what the captain do once he wins the toss. Is it around that time now?
Yeah, I think the toss has just been completed. Brisbane Heat have won the toss and elected to bat.
So Brisbane Heats are going to bat first. So with that information, you have Kane Richardson coming up with it's a matchup against Matt Renshaw.
Yeah, Kane Richardson is usually a think I think it has been marked right there because Kane Richardson, yeah, has a good record against left-handers bowling up front. But again, this is a deck where you do not expect a lot of new ball movement, so it's still something that's favored against Renshaw. This is, I think,
Yeah,
this is marked for the post power play period because the new ball ends here. So what this means is that after the power play, Richardson is one of the favorites to get Renshaw out.
got it. So let's go to the fantasy sheet. So talk to us through your 11.
It is the same 11 as well. There's not a lot of changes. The only decision we had to make was between Swepson and Mujib. Whoever bowls second will be the one we'll be picking. Considering Swepson will be the one who is bowling second today, it will be Swepson who is making the 11. And the captain
So
would be
talk about
captaincy and vice captaincy is basically between Russell and Akil Hussain. Even Basley is not far away from it. Currently, he is one of the top differential options in play today, which is something that's marked in the sheet.
Russell could be among wickets as well. It's a kind of track that suits his bowling.
Yeah, I mean they are using him a lot more than Sutherland. Sutherland seems like someone who will come into play after Russell leaves and Guptill joins the 11. So as long as he's bowling a minimum of 3 overs, he cannot avoid. Russell will always remain one of the top captaincy options in play.
Great. So with that fantasy 11 out, are there any betting calls for the day?
Yeah, we are going with Sam Harper, player performance points over 29.5.
You get there. So we go to cricket. There. So batter match performance or player performance? So player performance.
Player performance points because the value here is in expecting him
Wicket
to
keeper.
take yeah catches and stumpings.
Yeah. And you said his value is going to be over 29.5.
Yeah,
Okay. That makes sense to me. So I had logged out. I was not aware. So this is the bet, right?
yeah.
I have only. All right.
I think you'll have to take the tick out because it's at 20, I guess.
Okay. So what I
We,
will do is I'll change it to 20 so that I use their credits. 2 plus 10, it says, yeah, it should go through now because it says 20 from the free bets and $10 from my balance. So the
it's
return will
done.
be 35. So place the bet. So I'll just connect my phone and I'll bring up FanX. So talk to us about the FanX game today.
I think today's one is interesting because we do not have the conventional stats in play. It's number of sixes, I think, and number of dots. So, and there is one more section which is predicting the number of runs scored. This is what I'm looking at. What we currently have 121 contestants, and the top prize wins 1,250. It's free to enter as well, and we have 34 prizes. So out of the 120 that are there so far, 34 win something in return. So you play with free coins, and you win real cash back basically.
Got it. So give me a second. So this is a contest. The first one I see,
Mm,
the uh, the the game between Melbourne Renegades and Brisbane Heat
mm,
at Geelong.
mm,
So the price pool you're saying it's for 5,000 rupees.
mm. Yeah,
Wow. So let
it's
me.
free to enter.
So it's six. I predict who hits the max number of sixers,
Mm,
dot ball, and run
mm,
scored.
mm,
Sixers, I would think Andre Russell. Dot ball is
mm.
interesting. Maybe Swepson. Let's
Subsin
see.
or mm,
Mujib, maybe like you said, he bowled five dot balls after. So that one over itself will make Mujib win if he bowls five dot balls in an over.
Yeah. Mm.
And you wouldn't expect anybody else to bowl so many dot balls across there, even four overs. Runs scored. Okay, so that's an interesting one. So let's look at the prize payout. So there could be as many as 34 winners. The winner on the one who's got the first prize takes home 1,250 rupees,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
the pot is split for the second prize for between two people, so
Mm.
they get 625 rupees each,
Mm.
and for the third position they get 250 rupees each.
Mm.
Five winners tied for the spot three, and for the spot four we have as many as 25 winners splitting a part of 1,250. So
Yeah.
that's about 50 rupees. So there is
Mm.
there are a lot of winners. There are 34 winners. There are only 120 people who have joined the contest so far. So that almost makes the win percentage 30% of the assurance of winning cash
Yeah.
if you join this contest just for 75 coins.
Mm.
So this sounds like something I can do every day.
Yeah.
Pay coins that are given to me free to win cash. Sounds fun. And strongly basis on your inputs, right? It was interesting yesterday looking at short and Thornton coming good. We'll talk about that in a while. But let's pick the player who will hit the maximum number of sixes today. Colin Munro is a good option.
Mm.
I
I
know.
think it, it will be between Colin Munro, Russell, and Madison. We'll just have to pick one.
Yeah. So Madison, I didn't see him clear.
Mm.
He was clearing infield and getting those boundaries, but he was not making those big shots.
Mm.
So I am expecting Colin Munro today.
Mm.
Um, whom did you pick?
I think I currently have it at Nick Madison. Maybe I'll change it to Russell at the last minute. I do not know.
Okay, so for the maximum number of dot balls, we have a lot of candidates: Swepson,
Mm.
Mujib,
Mm.
Akil Hussain. He got a 3 for 15. That means he
Mm.
bowled a lot of dot balls in that spell.
Mm. Mm.
And also Kuhneman. Even
Yeah.
Russell can bowl dot balls.
Yeah. I think the top tip that we gave out to our subscribers today is to back someone who bowls in the second innings because that's when the bowling gets really tough. So I would recommend to choose someone between Swepson and Kuneman.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Swepson because they're going to start really, really cautiously if Swepson were to open the bowling.
Mm.
So I'm
Yeah.
taking my chances on Swepson, given how good he'll be on this deck. And run scored.
Mm.
So we're going to go with your birthday boy or Nick Madison.
It's a two-way shooter between Nick Madison and who else? Yeah, Colin Munro.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Colin Monroe. I'm very tempted to go with Rick Madison. I really
Mm.
like him. Very elegant left-hander, like I said.
Mm.
No bun intended. intended. So, but this is my pick, Colin Monroe. Yesterday, I did the mistake of not picking short for
Mm.
both boundaries and runs.
Mm.
I went with Lynn,
Mm.
and that's where I missed out. But today, hopefully, I made the right choices.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as that to join the contest. So we have 124 participants. There are going to be 34 winners. So
Mm.
that's almost more than one fourth. So 25% of you are going to take home money today joining this contest.
Yeah.
So let's look at yesterday's contest where it was just 25 coins to play, and 10 of them took 500 coins each. And there are a lot of good combinations between Short, Thornton, Finch, Rashid Khan.
Mm. Think
So
this.
you are one of the top 10.
Mm. Think the first spot was split between two contestants, me and another one. So both of us, I think we picked Matthew Short and Henry Taunton.
What's your username?
ALIMO.
Okay, that's you. So you backed your word, picked short and content, and they came
Mm.
good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let's go back to the lobby and see if there are more interesting contests to join.
Mm.
There's an India Bangladesh contest that's coming up
Mm.
for a prize money of 2000. So
Mm.
if you're a new user downloading the app, you can join this contest free of cost. Does
Yeah.
not even cost you coins. But
Mm.
if you already played another contest, the free contest, it just costs 60 coins to join. It's got 95 spots left. We created another contest for the India Bangladesh game
Mm.
for 150 spots that filled in. So we opened a new contest for 200 participants, and that's filling fast.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Al. It was great having you on the show as always.
No problem.
Have fun watching the game. Have a good day ahead, and look forward to talking to you tomorrow.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, bye then.